Hey, everybody, got a really cool email from somebody asking me, have I ever used the frame tool that's in Photoshop to do something like this and something like this that I'll build in this session. And also, I'm going to throw in a couple really cool tricks and tips for you in using the frames tool in Photoshop. Are we ready for this? Let's do it. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to the channel, this is dedicated to photography and thinking creatively out of the box with our work. Okay, with that out of the way, let's jump into our program. And a really good email that came in to me asking me, have I ever used the frames tool feature in Photoshop, which is a fairly new tool. I mean, it's been around for a while, but it's been tweaked and modified a little bit. And the answer is yes. It's just a different way of doing things. So if you've seen some of my past videos where we took an image or two and framed it a certain way in Photoshop just to display our artwork or photographs to put on, say, social media, or maybe we're going to print it, that is just, one of many ways we can do it. And so there's an old joke in Photoshop that still holds true today. So you've probably, if you've been watching my videos for a while, I always bring this up quite often, and that is, how many Photoshop people does it take to change a light bulb? And the answer typically is 4. 1 to actually change the light bulb, and the other 3 to stand around and give 3 different ways of doing the same thing. And that's Photoshop. A lot of times there isn't a single way of doing things. So frames is another technique that we can actually use to display our image. It could be multiple images like I showed you in the intro. And so I'm going to build one that has 3 frames and show you the frame tool feature that we have built into Photoshop. Okay, so let's go over here to Photoshop. And to start with, I'm just going to do a shortcut keystroke, Control N, like in Nancy. That gives me the new dialog box. That'd be say Command N on a Mac. If you go to you want to do it the long way, go to File drop-down menu and just choose New. Okay, so it doesn't matter how you get there. Now, the standard size, if you look over here for starting off with, say, a new project, is a lot of times it's 7x5, 300 resolution. That tends to be our default in Photoshop, unless you've been using some other sizes. I don't need, let's say, in the 300 resolution here that I see. I want to do something that's just for social media. So I'm going to change my unit of measure from inches to pixels. And I'm going to make this, let's go with 1,000 pixels wide and 500 pixels high. And my resolution, I only need it as 100. And I'm going to click on the button down here to create. So this is my starting point right here. Let me just pull this down a little bit so we can see this. Okay, now what I want to do is start out designing how we're going to apply our images here. And I want to make 3 images in this design, but you might do something that has 6 or 9. It could be a square layout. But I'm going to go over here to the View drop-down menu and come almost to the bottom. Make sure Snap is activated and Snap to, that these are selected. And come down here to Guides, and that's all you have to do is choose New Guide Layout. Now, when this opens up, probably it's going to be like a 3x3. Let me just change everything. I don't know what the default would be because it just remembers, oops, the last time I've used this. So let's just pretend this opened up and that's what you're getting. Well, in this example, I just want 3 columns. So I have 3 there, that's fine, but I only want 1 row. So I'm gonna change it to 1. And then there's my 3 different areas for 3 different images. Now, the gutter size is 20. That can be changed, and the gutter is just the distance between these guidelines. So that will be the distance between our images there. And in the top, left, bottom, and right, I've got 20 pixels in there, so you can see that goes all the way around. But what I want to do is I want to have some more depth on the bottom to put my signature. So I'm going to change the 20 to 70 pixels right there. And you can see how that adjusted down here to give me that extra space. Now, obviously, you're going to design what you want to, have in your design here. So once you get everything set the way you like it, just choose OK. Okay, now that I have that set, I'll share a major tip with you, and that is when you come over here in the toolbar and grab frames, we're going to choose not a circle or triangle. You want to choose the square, which will let us do squares and rectangles. So with that selected, when I come over here in the upper left-hand corner, in this spot, I click and drag. That's why I want the snap to guides activated here. It drops in a frame for me. Now, I have seen other people do this, and I'm guilty doing the same thing. I end up going over here and adding the additional frames. Don't do that. Let me share with you a major tip here. Before I do that tip, let's change the frame by going to the option bar up here at the very top. And if you don't see that, go to Window drop-down menu. Make sure Contextual Taskbar is activated. And then what I'm going to do is, because I'm on the frame layer here and the frame is selected, I'm going to go over here where it says actually a stroke that we can add. And I'm going to click on this. And I want to make sure I choose a light gray color. Now, if I don't have light gray showing here, because I've done this in the past, I can just click on this icon, and this will open up the color picker, and you could pick whatever you want. There's a gray color here, or red, or whatever your color would be. But I'm just going to stick with that color right there. And then I'm going to change the pixel, because it's set to 1. I'm going to change that to 5. And so now if I click on the background, we can see that there's my frame. And I've got that 5 pixel outline. Again, if you go, oh, I want it bigger, you can make it 10 pixels, whatever. Now let's go back to the layer with frames. So that I just selected. And I'm going to share a major tip that will save you a lot of time in designing. Instead of me going and drawing in these other frames and doing the same thing with the outline, I did it one time. I'm going to move inside my frame. Make sure your frame tool is selected here on the toolbar when you do this. I'm going to hold 2 keystrokes down. I'm going to hold the Shift key down and the Alt key. That'd be Shift Option on a Mac. Hopefully this shows up in the video. My cursor changes to like a double arrow. I'm going to click and drag to the right, and it just keeps my line up horizontal really well, so I can't accidentally go up or down really quick. I let go of the mouse, but my fingers are still on the Shift and Alt, and again, the Shift option for the Mac, and I'm going to click and drag to the right. So what it's doing is saving me time by duplicating. In fact, I'm just going to tap that over a little bit with the arrow keys, but I don't have to do each frame individually. I do it once, and I'm just copying them over to the other areas. And if I had things on the bottom that I wanted, I would just click and drag and push it down. So it's just a quick, easy way of designing the look of your frames. Now, to fill in the frames with images, there's different ways of doing it. So number one, I'm going to go to the very top frame here to select that. And before I even get into this, I want to do something special. And people that know me and follow me for quite a while know that if I'm designing something and I'd like to use this in the future again, I want to save this as a starting point, as a template. And the way we do that is we'll go to the File drop-down menu, and I'm just going to choose Save a Copy. And I will make sure it is on my computer. I've got it set to sample images, so you just navigate where you want to have that place. And I'm just going to call this my I'll do an abbreviation, 3-column frame. You might want to be more descriptive, like 3-column horizontal frames or whatever. But what I want to do is .psd, add the letter T. So it's really important to add the letter T there. That means it's a template format. So when I choose Save, and I click on OK, now when I close out of this, I'm not going to save this. And I'm just going to go back on my workspace. I'm just going to double click, navigate to this right here. This is the PSD file I just created. I'm going to select that, choose Open. And there's my starting point. And again, notice that it's untitled as a project, meaning for the ones that are new to this, if I mess up with this, I can trash it. And I didn't mess up my starting template. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay, now I want to use this. So I'm going to start out with this frame here. So I just make sure that's selected there. And just a couple ways we can do this. If I go to the File drop-down menu and come down to Place Embedded and navigate and go find the image, I'm going to choose this one right here, click on Place, and it places it in the frame. So there's the frame. I thought I picked that one. I guess I didn't. I picked this one right there. As long as I'm on the thumbnail here where the image is at, I can do Control-T, Command-T on a Mac. I could resize this by grabbing the place handles if I need, use my arrow keys to readjust this, maybe pull this down a bit and to the right a little bit, and just make that fit in the way I'd like it to fit, and then enter on my keyboard. Okay, so now the middle one here, so I'm going to select that one a different way, and that is coming back to the option bar, and you'll see the contextual tab here, and over here it says Import Image. So if I click on that, it just gives me the dialog box. I'm going to choose that image right there, click on Place, and it drops it in. And again, I could readjust the location of that. Just to save time, I'm not going to do that. I'll click on the last one here. And again, I'm just going to go over here to select Import Image. And what image did I not? That one I didn't choose, so I'm going to select Place. And again, Control-T, Command-T on a Mac. And I'm going to drop that down with my arrow keys to about that position and enter on the keyboard. And then I'm going to go to the background here to select that. And I'm going to go over here. And a few weeks ago, I showed how to create a signature logo. It's not really, say, your signature you're signing. It's just like you're creating a design look. And I'm just going to pull one out of my libraries here. Click and drag to drop it into the background layer. And just resize this. And I'll place that about right there. Let's drop that down a little bit. And then maybe I'll just pull the opacity down on that. So I'm going to come over here in layers, and I might just drop that down a little bit. And there's my before and after on that. You want to get rid of the guidelines, just do Control-H or Command-H on a Mac, and that just temporarily hides the guidelines. And there you go. There's what's your project. Save that out. Save it out as a JPEG. Save it as a PSD file, right? But you always have your starting point, and that's your template. Hopefully you are learning something. If you could do me a big favor here, and that is please like the video, subscribe if you have not subscribed, and hit that notification bell. The next time I upload a video, you'll get notified on that. Again, thank you for the people that have been going to buymeacoffee.com/Stephen Photo Artist to help support the channel on a volunteer basis. So people, I really appreciate the ones that have been doing that. All right, so with that out of the way, try this technique, see what you think. Try using frames. Until next time, see ya.